What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the third studio album by Tove Lo. She's a Swedish pop artist and has crossed over into some other territories as well, but that's primarily what I would label her as. The new record is called Blue Lips, and it's actually phase 2 of Ladywood. Ladywood came out last year and wasn't a very good album in my opinion. I was a pretty big fan of Queen of the Clouds. I actually got into her because of her debut EP, Truth Serum. I thought this was fantastic. I actually picked this up on Record Store Day a couple of years ago while I was in Canada. It's on pink vinyl, and yeah, I really like this. Some of her best songs are on here, like Over, and obviously the original version of Habits Stay High. That track blew up for her as she took the world by storm. Talking Body was huge as well, and I was on board with it. This kind of swinging electro pop with a very sexual charge to it. I like the undertones and the subtlety, but also the fact that it was kind of fierce. And with Ladywood, it just all felt too contrived and too in your face, like there was no subtlety to it. And I think Ladywood is probably the most unflattering term I have ever heard. And now we come around to Blue Lips, which I said is phase 2 of Ladywood, and it took me a minute to get the title, but as soon as I thought about it a little bit more and I listened to the subject matter of the songs, which once again are very sexual, but in a much better way, I think, and we'll get to that. But Blue Lips is like referring to blue balls that men will get, you know, if you don't actually have sex, and this is weird to talk about, like you want to though, but you're horny, I guess, and that's what the blue lips are, you know, like vagina. I'm not your sex ed teacher. I'm sorry, I can't do this. That was kind of awkward, so we're just gonna breeze right on by that. You get the idea though, like blue lips, blue balls. It's sexual in nature as an album, like I said. Anyways, Tove Lo has improved this time around. I like to think that she crafted these songs a while ago. In fact, she was already playing some of them at Coachella and that sort of thing. So the songs I think have existed for a while, and it's just that this phase and this album is a different part. And I do like that it is split into two sections here. Like I said, we've got Light Beams and Pitch Black. Those are the two instrumental moments that kind of cut the record in half, where in the first half she's talking about this relationship and just kind of them messing around behind somebody's back potentially, and all of the rush and the feelings that you get because maybe it's wrong or you're getting this rush and this high from it. And then on the second half, it's like the come down because this relationship is faltering, it's falling apart at the seams, and Tove Lo doesn't exactly know what to do with herself. So I like how she lets her mind explore on this album, and while it doesn't always come across super, I don't know, well written, it's endearing at the very least. The two transitory tracks, Light Beams and Pitch Black, are both instrumental, and I should say mainly instrumental, at least on that intro and Light Beams, because it does contain elements of disco tits. In fact, that's where it actually says the title of the song. It's never said, I don't think, in disco tits. It's said in the opening moment. And as far as disco tits goes, I don't like that song. I do not like that song. It had my expectations for this album once again very low because I did not like Ladywood, and I felt like Disco Tits was just furthering that direction. It was very unflattering, just kind of in your face. I'm fully charged, nipples are hard. I can't even take it seriously. I don't care who it is, a man or a woman singing about themselves in that way, even if it's not meant to be taken seriously. I just can't take the song seriously. I don't want to listen to it. And it has all these annoying sound effects, like at the beginning, the oh, it sounds like somebody like yawning or else doing something else and then like slow-moing it. I just feel like we get so many random sound effects in pop music these days, and it's just overdone. Please stop. Just make the songs the songs. We don't need all of the extra tricks. So I hated Disco Tits. Fine. That's the only song that I actually heard before the album came out, so I went in not expecting to really enjoy this project just because I thought that maybe it would be more of that. But that's not really the case here. Honestly, there's a lot of good songs, some good songwriting, and some nice craftsmanship. I like the way that she really came full circle and actually told a story with many of these songs. Like I said about the first half, she actually kind of talks about being a mistress, I feel like, and being somebody's little secret, and she kind of likes that, but I think phase 2, the second part of this record, is where she starts to figure out that maybe she wants more from the relationship, and she talks about her sexuality. She talks about wanting to be with multiple people, and she even talks about being with girls, and I think being bisexual. I don't necessarily want to put that label on her if she hasn't publicly put it on herself, but she's mentioned that she enjoys women's company sexually, but not really relationships with them because, as she says on Bitches, she does not trust them. And that's such a catchy song that comes right before the second half, and that one just sends it out with a bang. I love that moment. So catchy and just very honest lyrically. Shivering Gold definitely doesn't beat around the bush, no pun intended, with what it has to say with the lyrical content. Without reading into it too much, you can pretty much tell. And I think that what I take from this song, it's just about the feeling that you get, feeling good during sex or if somebody's going down on you, whatever. And it has a nice synthy production style to it that I keep coming back to. I really do like this track a whole lot. And then right before that, I will say it's a bit repetitive, but we do get the track She Don't Know, But She Knows. That's one where I think that she addresses head on the fact that she's kind of the side girl, but she's okay with it because she knows that the original girl knows that this dude is with. And she knows, but she doesn't know. She pretends not to. She'd be okay with wearing a smile, as she talks about on the track. And it is catchy. I just feel like a lot of this record in general doesn't necessarily captivate on the instrumentals or the initial idea. I feel like she has the ideas and then just kind of runs in a circle a bit. Don't Ask, Don't Tell kind of has that pitfall, but at the same time, I'm inclined to liking that one a bit more. And then right after that, we get some great guitar work on Stranger, and I'm screaming, yes, please, Tove Lo, please do more of this in the future, because guitars plus your voice, it actually sounds really good, and I would like to see her expand on this. And Stranger is fantastic, a great hook, probably one of the best, if not the best, on the entire album. Getting to the second half of this record, Pitch Black, I do have some songs that I really find myself coming back to and enjoying, one of those particularly being Bad Days. That's one where I feel like we get a more intimate vibe with her. We don't often see that side, at least not as much, especially on Ladywood and other parts of this record, but I feel like she kind of takes down the barrier on a track like this, and the melody shines through. She has a great voice, and I do wish that she really let that shine a bit more. We get some of it on some of these tracks where you just hear her unleashing, and I always find myself coming back to moments like that and saying, yes, this is a moment that made it a key track for me. Cycles is a nice track that kind of breaks down what she goes through mentally, not knowing that she's in a cycle until she's actually in it, and not realizing maybe the way that she actually treats some people. And this one, once again, has kind of an airy feel to it, a lot of synthy production, some hip-hop leaning beats, but at the same time, I think it's a bit more pop-oriented, and I'm totally fine with this sound. Some of the instrumentals do feel a bit flat, and maybe a bit too similar to each other, but it's honestly not a huge complaint for me with this record, Blue Lips. I can honestly say I'm not really a fan of 9th of October. It's more of a confessional tune, and this one, the way that it plays out, I'm just not a fan with the way that the vocals match to the music. It just feels a bit off. It's like whenever you're trying to get your phone to connect to Bluetooth and you know that the speaker's on, but you can't get it to connect. That's just what I'm feeling here. There's just not quite that connection, even though the parts are there, and it feels like maybe this should be right, maybe this should feel like a more genuine moment, but it just doesn't feel like that for me. The first actual song that we got on the second half right after Pitch Black starts is Romantics, and it has the only feature on the entire record. That's Die Jack. I hope I'm saying that right. D-A-Y-E. Die Jack, possibly. It's perfectly okay. It's kind of cruise control, singing about we could be romantics for life, and it's got a skittering drum beat on it. It's something that I think a lot of people might gravitate towards just because of the musicality. It does have that modern edge to it, but I don't think that it's all that interesting or captivating. The album has 14 songs altogether, and it does close out on Hey, You Got Drugs, and that one is another moment that does feel more personal, that is taking it in a very good direction. I like that this song opens up and does feel sarcastic with the way that it kind of stomps in with the lyrics. It's more quiet and restrained with the way that it approaches the music, but the actual music and lyrics itself, once they really get going, I do feel like they have a lot to say. And something here, I feel like she's talking about the fallout of this relationship that she's been going through all throughout the entire record. And at this point, she's honestly just kind of jaded on the whole thing, and she's basically saying, I need something, a pick-me-up kind of, to get me through this just for the night. I'm going to get back on my feet, but right now, I am spiraling. I'm surprised that I enjoyed this record as much as I did, but I'm glad that I did. It was a pleasant, refreshing wave that came across me. So Tove Lo, kudos on the album, kudos on stepping it up. For me personally, I'm gonna give this new record, Blue Lips, a 3.5 out of 5. Guys, please drop a like on the review while you're here. If you would, support me on Patreon if you're able to. It helps videos like this keep coming on a monthly basis. It's the top link down below. And of course, do not forget to comment your thoughts on the new new Tove Lo album, Blue Lips. If you want to see my review of her album, Queen of the Clouds, you can tap right over here, or if you want to see another recent video that I did, you can tap right over here. All of my socials can be found in the description down below, a direct link to my Patreon at that annotation in the corner, and other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.